Welcome to all passionate of geopolitics. It's your channel, so if you like any geopolitical news, you can subscribe to this channel. You just need to click on subscribe, and if you like my video, you can just click on you like, or if you dislike, you can also leave your remarks and your opinion. So welcome to this video, which will be focused on the ongoing events in the old city of Jerusalem. So we have rarely talked about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in this channel, but due to the ongoing events, I think it's the right time to address issues related to this conflict, which is, let's say, one of the major, I think, one of the major geopolitical issues in this current world. So let's remind a bit to our viewers what's going on right now in Jerusalem. So first we have to start from the very beginning. First, President Abbas from the Palestinian Authority president announced in the beginning of this year the holding of elections. So you have to bear in mind that no election have been held in the Palestinian territories since years. Actually, since 2006, no election have been held. And since 2009, for your information, the mandate of Mahmoud Abbas has been lapsed. But he tried during years to postpone election, and probably due to pressure of the new U.S. administration, on 15th of January, President Abbas announced the presidential and parliamentary election. Actually, parliamentary election was scheduled on the 22nd of May. But why I'm using past tense now to talk about election, due to the fact that those elections have been postponed due to the fact, according to Mr. Abbas, that Israel prevents people from East Jerusalem to vote. So President Abbas, Mahmoud Abbas, used the issue of East Jerusalem to, let's say, to postpone the election. So let's say it was the first tension related to Jerusalem. The second one came a couple of days later when the Israeli police put some barricades, on the stairs around the Damascus Gate in the old city. It's a usual place where people after iftar, so the breaking dinner after the fast, where people usually gather in the evening. But this year, for unknown reason, the Israeli police put barricades preventing people from gathering. So that was, people felt really humiliated. We can understand. People did not understand why they were treated in that way, and it created anger and clashes with Israel police, with some people wounded, and a lot of people were arrested during those clashes, who lasted during 10 days. And after 10 days, the Israeli police understood that this senseless story about barricade came to the conclusion that they will remove those barricades, and it was the end of the story. But some let's say some emotion remained, let's say, left. People did not forget how it marks the spirit, how Palestinians were humiliated. And a couple of days later, a very viral video circulated about a woman that talked to a settler who was about to retake or to take a house, let's say like that, using a 1970 law in Israel who allows Jews to reclaim properties dating back before 1948. You have to bear in mind that such mechanism does not exist for Palestinians, who cannot reclaim all houses that they left during the 1948 war. It's called just abandoned houses, and any people can who have used them are de facto the owner of those houses, preventing all Palestinians from reclaiming it. So for many people, it's a very segregatory justice, and it created, if you like, this segregation, how created a lot of frustration and anger among Palestinians, among people of East Jerusalem, that they understand that the question of the eviction is more and more political and less, let's say, legal issue. I mean, it's not new. You have to know that many Palestinians have already been evicted from their houses in East Jerusalem. But you also have to know that it becomes more and more politicized issue in Israel. Some politicians are using it become instrumental issue. They are using it for their own political end. So, for example, we have seen some, let's say, Israeli politician, not to name it, like Itamar Ben-Gvir, coming to Jerusalem Est in front of the houses in question, were trying to intimidate the people living there, saying that they will be evicted. And it created some clashes actually on the spot. I mean, between all those between the supporters of this politician and people from this neighborhood, and the Israeli police showed some, let's say, crackdown on those people, Palestinian people who demonstrated, and prompting international condemnation, especially in the United States. We heard the Senator Bernie Sanders, the senator from Vermont, and Elizabeth Warren. Both of them were nominee for the presidential election, for the Democrat primary. So they are well-known political figures in the United States, and they widely condemn those brutality, what they said about the Israeli police. I mean, what said Bernie Sanders is, he said, United States must speak out the violence by government, by government-allied extremists, and make clear that the eviction of Palestinian family must not go forward. It's what Bernie Sanders said. But you have also to know that also the Department of State and the Ministry of the U.S. Foreign Affairs is following up also what's happening in East Jerusalem, saying we are deeply concerned about the potential eviction of Palestinian families in the Silwan and Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood, many of whom have lived in their home for generations. So we are also so all those reactions from the United States are prompting also some concern in Israel due to the fact that it can have some political repercussion. And that's why perhaps we can explain like that the Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Benny Gantz have decided, both of them, to convene to discuss with Attorney General and the legal advisor of Israel to postpone the hearing scheduled tomorrow to another day, because the problem is tomorrow is supposed to be the day of all dangers, due to the fact that tomorrow it's what we call the Day of Jerusalem, where all let's say ultra-nationalists, not to say more, are, let's say, gathering and trying to show very strongly and trying even to intimidate the Palestinian population in East Jerusalem. But this year, due to the tension, they could use those tensions to assault the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and it's what many fear. and it could bring, imagine, a lot of clashes, because also many Palestinians are trying to defend the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the sovereignty, the sovereignty of the Muslim sovereignty, let's say like that, the Jordanian sovereignty, which actually it is, of Al-Aqsa Mosque. And we can fear tomorrow clashes between all those supranationalists or those ultra violent militia, Israeli militia, against the Palestinian. And it could, if you like, have a very big repercussion, those clashes, not only in Jerusalem, not only in Israel, not only in the Palestinian territory, but worldwide. Those images could bring reaction and furor in the Muslim world. So that's why Prime Minister Netanyahu understands that both the hearing decision of the Supreme Court, while at the same time the assault on Al-Aqsa Mosque could be, let's say, too much, and decided at least that the hearing should be postponed for another time. But it's not yet clear whether the Prime Minister Netanyahu will prevent his ally Itamar Ben-Gvir and all his supporters not to assault the Al-Aqsa Mosque. At this stage, it's not clear whether this assault from those Jewish groups will be prevented. If not, it could result in unprecedented, let's be clear, clashes we have seen with. It could bring a lot of injured people. Just on Friday, 200 people were injured by the Israeli police on Al-Aqsa Mosque, and tomorrow we could fear that the toll could be even worse than what happened on Friday. So we will continue to follow up the dramatic event happening in the Middle East, and we will, whether important news erupts there, we will continue to bring you the latest development coming from Jerusalem and the Palestinian territory.